Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mike and today we are returning to the dog profile series with episode 2. The dog I'm introducing today is Yuki. Yuki is of the breed of American Akita and she is a female. Yuki was born on June 28th of 2019. Yuki is a bit of a shorty for the American Akita breed. She stands at 23 inches at the withers or at the shoulders, which is also about 58 centimeters. Despite being below height average for the Akita, Yuki is actually pretty heavy for her size. She weighs in at 95 pounds, which is about 43 kilograms. Despite her weight being 95 pounds, which is a bit much for a dog that stands at 23 inches tall, this is not due to her being overweight or out of shape. She actually is pretty thin. You can't really tell it because, for one, she's got a very dense, thick coat of fur, and that doesn't help her out at all. And she is very barrel-chested. The reason she's so short is really due to her legs. She has kind of short legs, a bit of a runt, if you will. So she's a bit short, but she does have a stocky barrel chest, and she's got a very dense, heavy coat. However, she's not overweight at all. In fact, according to the vet, she's actually a perfect weight. She's very thin when they do the body fat test. So she just has an appearance of kind of a stocky dog, but it's more or less has to do with her short legs. When it comes to her health, Yuki's pretty healthy. I haven't had any issues with her health whatsoever. The only thing that was slightly concerning in the beginning was that she doesn't eat often. And sometimes she'll actually go a whole day without eating. And this is not for lack of options. She just really shows no desire to eat it sometimes. But in the end, she always does eat, and sometimes she eats a good meal. So there's not really a concern there because she's been doing this now for years. But it was something that I was worried about early on. But again, no effects are showing on her health. She seems to be a very healthy, fit girl. Now, Yuki was my first dog I've ever purchased as an adult. I've had dogs growing up, had Malamutes, I had German Shepherds, I had Labrador Retrievers, Golden Retrievers, the Chow once, you name it. We had a lot of dogs growing up, but I never had one as an adult, and I really wanted to get one. And I'm very partial to large guarding breeds. I was initially looking at Rottweilers, but my brother then, at the same time I was looking, got his first dog, which was Akita, named Mochi. You all have probably seen her in some of my other videos. And when I started learning more about the American Akita breed, it was right in line with what I really liked. All their characteristics was what I was looking for. So I went to the same breeder and purchased Yuki. When it comes to her personality, Yuki is a very sweet dog. She's actually a lot sweeter than Kenjo. Kenjo in some ways is friendlier than her and more attentive towards me, but Yuki is just very sweet. You can see it in her face, you can see it in her eyes. The way she interacts with humans is much more friendly than Kenjo. I would actually say Yuki's pretty people-friendly. She doesn't mind strangers so much, although a weird one might set her off to where she's a bit defensive. But overall, even towards strangers, she's very welcoming. She loves kids. When she meets kids, she's very accepting of them. So just very sweet overall. When it comes to her energy level, Yuki's pretty low. Not super low, but pretty low. Most of the time, she's very chill. However, she does get bouts of excitement that pop out of nowhere to where she just jumps up and she's really wanting to play. She'll just run and grab her rope and start killing it. Whenever you get home from being gone, she'll greet you at the door with a shoe or her rope in her mouth, just wanting to play with you. She's just very, very excited, very, very sweet. Where Yuki can be a bit of a challenge is when it comes to her behavior around other dogs. I wouldn't say she's mean to other dogs or she tries to fight them or anything like that. She's not a risk in the same way that Kenjo is, but more than Kenjo, she'll actually have confrontations with dogs because she is extremely bossy and she likes to regulate other dogs' behavior. So while I can actually trust Kenjo around some dogs, even her friends, I can't trust her around because she will bite correct. And it could escalate to a fight if the dog objects back. But if the dog's submissive to her, she will still bite correct them. And sometimes it'll cause a yelp or something like that, which you don't want to see. I actually don't want her doing that to my neighbor's dog because it looks very bad. But she is very, very authoritative in this way. Just a very bossy, bossy girl. She's even bossy with her brother Kenjo, even though he is the alpha between the two. When it comes to day-to-day things, little things like playing with toys or just play fighting or anything like that at all, she is always inserting herself. She'll nip at him. She'll bark at him. She'll bite correct him. Just very, very bossy, even towards Kenjo. But he is still ultimately the boss between the two of them. Now, I'm the boss overall as the human, but between the two of them, when they decide their pack hierarchy, he is actually ahead of her. And the reason I know that is because anytime there's treats, we get treats out or something like that, she sees his interest and she shies away and lets him have it first. Or if someone drops food on the floor, she knows he's going to go for it. She wants it, but she knows he's going to go for it, and she will walk away. Whereas he'll stand there and he'll wait for permission to grab it from me. But she won't even wait. She'll just leave because she's letting Kenjo have it. When it comes to small animals, she doesn't really have a whole lot of experience with them, so I cannot say how she is with cats. She's seen them before, but never up close. But I do know that Yuki has a very, very high prey drive, much higher than Kenjo's. She is always on the hunt, and it's hard to break her out of it. She red zones in on hunting. If she's outside on the line going to the bathroom and sees a squirrel, she wants to get at that squirrel so bad, and she will not even acknowledge any other sound she hears. She's just total red zoned on it. So she is always leashed just to keep other small animals safe. I'm not saying she would go after a cat, but she might. She definitely has that red zone level of focus, but she definitely wants to hunt squirrels and other small animals that she sees. Even bugs she's extremely interested in, and she'll try to eat them. Just very, very high prey drive on this girl. So next up is, does she have any dog friends? And the answer is yes, but not really many at all. She's close with Kenjo, her brother. They're not biologically related, but they're adopted related. But she's very close with Kenjo. She knows my brother's dog, Mochi, which is actually now my mom's dog because he gave it to my mom. She knows Mochi very well. They've known each other for years, but they are not really good friends at all. In fact, you have to watch them when they're around each other. They are very, very apprehensive of each other, competitive with each other, and they have actually got into it before. It's not hard to keep that from happening. I've had them around each other for days at a time and haven't had issues, but you do have to keep an eye on them. Two females is typically not advised when it comes to Akitas, and Yuki and Mochi are certainly the rule on that one. But other than that, she still doesn't have very many friends that are dogs because she can't really be trusted around them. I don't think she's going to try to fight other dogs so much, but she will be very bossy towards them. She will regulate them with her teeth and try to pin them down if she doesn't like their level of excitement or energy. And she will bite correct a lot. And that's not something you can really explain to somebody. It'll just sound like you're trying to excuse your dog's behavior. So she doesn't really get to play with other dogs too much. Yuki is very territorial, but not so much towards humans. She likes humans too much. There's very rarely a human that she's uncomfortable around. She's in tune with humans, very friendly towards most of them, and accepting. But she is not accepting of other animals, especially dogs. She is very territorial towards other animals, especially dogs. She's not going to try to fight every dog that comes into the yard, but if they come to the yard, she's going to confront them, and she's most likely going to bite correct them or try to pin them down or some manner communicate to the dog, I am boss, you're in my territory now. She's just very, very, as I said 100 times, she's very bossy in this way. All right, so next up is obedience level, and I would say Yuki's obedience level is very low. Now, I haven't really worked with her as much as I have Kenjo. Kenjo took my main concern and focus because Kenjo shows it in him to where he can fight other dogs. He's more than willing to take it to that level if he feels like he should. So I had to work really hard on letting him know that I'm in charge. He follows my lead and he obeys himself, and I've improved him a ton. But that took away the focus from Yuki. I haven't really given her as much attention as I have Kenjo, so her obedience level is lower. Even if I had worked with her as much as I've worked with Kenjo, I don't think her obedience level would be as high as Kenjo's is. I think it would be much higher than it is now, so I do need to work on this. But it still wouldn't be that high. She's just a very, very absent-minded, I'm going to do what I want type of girl. So it will take a lot of extra work to get her to a much better place when it comes to obedience. When it comes to that legendary Akita bond, I don't think Yuki's quite there. Kenjo is very much attached to me, and I really feel like that Hachiko type of bond with Kenjo. Like he would just want to be by me at all times and would be devastated if I was gone. I don't really get that sense from Yuki. I'm not saying that she doesn't have a bond. She does, but I'd say it's more like the average dog type of bond. At least that's how I see it. She may have it that she just doesn't display it, but I would just rate it more along the lines of what you typically see between a human and their dog. That type of bond is more typical for her. Not that extreme devotion that is really known to be a part of the Akita breed. As a result, I'm not quite as confident in her ability to protect. She probably would. I mean, she is an Akita after all, but when it comes to the Akita's reputation in terms of protection, I'm very confident with Kenjo. Hers, I'm not quite as confident in. I'm sure she'd probably do her job, but especially if it was from dogs. If it was from a dog, aggressive dog, she's going to do her duty because she doesn't really tolerate nonsense from dogs. But from humans, I'm less confident in. I mean, she'd probably do it, but Kinjo's the one I would rely on mostly with my confidence level. All right, and as I did with the first dog series profile with Kinjo, I asked the question, if your dog was a human, who would they be? Finding a comparable human to Yuki was not easy. I had to do some brainstorming on this one. The human match I came up with for Yuki is Erin Brockovich. I chose Erin Brockovich because she always took charge of the room she was in. She was very nippy, very catty, very bossy, very much in charge of her surroundings, even if she didn't quite fit in. And that is very much Yuki. She's very much like that. But also like Erin, Yuki is very sweet. To those she's loyal to, she's going to be very sweet towards, very affectionate, very protective, very caring, and just all around just a great person to have in your family. So I would say that's a good fit for Yuki. Both being bossy, trying to regulate everybody's behavior, trying to call people out for misbehavior, but yet having your back when you really need it. That is Yuki. All right, that wraps up episode 2 of the Dog Profile series with Yuki. Next up, I'm probably going to be covering Mochi. That is the most obvious option. I have access to that dog more than I do others, but I do have other dogs lined up as well, besides my mom's Akita. I'm looking at possibly my friend's Doberman Pinscher. He's got a big, beautiful Doberman Pinscher. My neighbor has Gus, which is a good example of the German Shorthair breed, and a few other options as well. So I am looking to continue this series, and hopefully it takes off and gets a bit more traction as we go on. So if you made it this far, thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for my next episodes or next uploads. Please like this video, please subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.